is we train our law students by having them work on files that members of the public who are not able to afford the services of a regular attorney at law would be able to access justice, access those legal services. So by assisting with working on the files and under the supervision of the attorneys we have at the clinic, we are able to provide this service to you as members of the public. So without the students, we would not be able to do what it is that we are doing. So we need to give them a round of applause, right? Now they have worked very hard this year to ensure that the fair was a success. And so I do encourage you, as Ms. Levy would have indicated, to go on to NMLS Legal Aid Clinic. Do a YouTube search. If you have the flyer, you notice that we have a QR code there, so you can just scan your flyer and it will take you directly to the channel for those who are in person. So what do we have on offer today? We have many things outside. So you'll notice that we have been indicating that we have the online component, but we also have an in-person component. So for those persons who are on YouTube and you think that you can make it here, you are not too late. Come on up to the Legal Aid Clinic, or depending on where you're located, come on down. We are located at 18 Gibraltar Hall Road on the University of the West Indies campus, which is right beside the campus police post. And for those who make their way on Mona Road and you're familiar with August Town, then you come off at the turn gate. So come on down. We have a lot in store for you. We have the National Health Fund here, and they have their cards. They're ready to sign you up. If you don't have your NHF card, we have the RGD, we have the Administrator General's Department, we have Statistical Institute, Bureau of Gender Affairs, we have the EV car. A lot of persons want to know, is an EV car for me? Should I give up the gas guzzler? Come on down, because they're here to show you, answer the questions that you may have. We also have with us a number of organizations that are promoting their products, and let me not leave out that starting at 11 o'clock, we're going to be doing free vision testing. So if you think you can't see clearly and you're wondering, come on to the Legal Aid Clinic. A lot in store for you. Don't sign up with the documents before you can see. The doctor is going to be here at 11 so that you can get that vision tested. So we have also for you prizes and surprises in store. So don't miss the opportunity to visit the booths that are out on the outside and check us out. Now, later down in this part of the program, you'll get a chance to view, if you're still on YouTube and you can't make it, to tap into what is happening on the outside. So a very warm welcome to you. Enjoy the day's events, and we look forward to many, many more such as this.
Thank you, Mrs. Wisdom Barnett. Up next, we do have the Legal Aid Council Executive Director, Ms. Diane Watson. Ms. Watson.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, members of the public, students of this great law school, persons who are online, a pleasant good morning to you all. All right, so the Legal Aid Council is very happy to partner with the law school to host this Legal Aid Fair. Our mission is to ensure access to justice, and I think we have a shared goal with the Norman Manley Law School Legal Aid Clinic, because we want to improve access to justice. We want to make sure that all Jamaicans know about their rights. It's about empowerment. And so we were very happy to be partnering with the Law School Clinic today to host this fair, and I'm so happy to see you all. So at the Legal Aid Council, what we do, we provide lawyers for persons who are arrested or detained and for persons who are charged with criminal offenses. We also have a wonderful mobile justice unit service. We have some buses which were donated by the Canadian government, and we travel throughout the length and breadth of Jamaica to provide services to persons in underserved areas. We are also very committed to helping all vulnerable groups. So we do a lot of work with persons who suffer from disabilities, mental illness, children, women, all the various groups. And so the public, have easy access to justice, and we break down the geographical barriers by going to them. We're in Augustown every 4th Friday. So if you have any matters that you'd want to talk to us about, we'll be there. The bus is outside, so when you get a chance, I'm asking you to come and come on the bus. There are services there that you'll hear about. So now for our law students, I want to connect with you. I want to engage you because we want you to become empaneled. So the attorneys who are on our panel, the attorneys who are drawn from private practice. So all the big names, the KCs and everybody, they're on the panel because they want to give back to the public. And so we ask you, once you're finished, once you're called to the bar, come and sign up with us because you'll find it very fulfilling to give back in that way. And we also will connect you to senior attorneys who will mentor you. Because what we do is we assign both junior and senior attorneys in the serious matters. So we ask you, law students, please remember us. And if you want to join our staff, you'll be it's really lovely work. Diverse range of work that we do. We do virtual consultations, we do lots of public outreach. So we ask you to sign up once you have finished. Well, for today's proceedings, I welcome you also to these proceedings, and I ask you to come and see us, come on the bus, come and get legal advice, come and find out about our other services, and the law students come and find out how you can sign up. Thank you all for listening, and thank you for your time, and thank you for coming today.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Watson, and for the invitation to our law students to join your agency in terms of assisting with legal services. And similarly, as Mrs. Wisdom Barnett indicated, we at the Legal Aid Clinic of the law school, in fact, assist persons with legal services as well. Now, for today's presentation, we will be inviting students who are here from the OACS. So the OACS students are part of the body of students who are here finishing up their second year, and in fact will be leaving us shortly back to their respective jurisdiction. However, a part of the Legal Aid Clinic is to have a special outreach, and part of that they have indicated their role to present on a topic that is came up very recently, more so than ever because of Hurricane Melissa. Now I will ask Miss Alisa Paul to come on up and introduce the presenters of today's session. Before Miss Paul comes up, our representative from the Consumer Affairs had unfortunately not been able to attend today, and as such we are not able to host a question and answer session. However, you would be invited to send questions to their email, and that can be provided to you, or to call them in case you have any questions. Right? So that information can be shared with you. Ms. Paul?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Legal Aid Clinic Fair hosted by the Norman Manley Law School. So as Ms. Levy said, we are Group F, and our class comprises of students from St. Kitts and Nevis and Antigua and Barbuda specifically. So as part of our Legal Aid Clinic Outreach Initiative, we are focusing on consumer protection in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, specifically the issue of price gouging and the rights and remedies available to you as local consumers. Our presenters today are Mr. Trent Luke, Ms. Zubaida Springer, and Mr. Anil Nanton. Please do enjoy the presentation, and Mr. Luke, I welcome you now.
Good morning, everyone. In late October 2025, Jamaica experienced the devastating impact of Hurricane Melissa, which caused widespread damage across the island. Natural disasters create not only humanitarian crises, but also economic instability. Supply chains are disrupted, demand for essential goods increases, and markets can become volatile. During these moments, the law plays a critical role in ensuring that the marketplace does not become a site of exploitation for you. In particular, the law must protect those who are most vulnerable, which include persons from low-income households, the elderly, families rebuilding their homes, and persons who urgently require food, medicine, and emergency supplies. Today's presentation will examine price gouging and how the law regulates the pricing of essential goods during disasters. Our discussion will cover, firstly, what is price gouging; secondly, the legislative framework governing it; thirdly, government action after Hurricane Melissa; fourthly, the role of enforcement agencies. Then we'll look at the complaint process available to consumers, and finally, practical challenges in prosecuting price gouging. Now, what is price gouging? Price gouging refers to an unjustified or excessive increase in the price of essential goods during or immediately following a national emergency or disaster. This occurs when vendors take advantage of scarcity, urgent consumer need, limited alternatives to increase prices beyond reasonable market inflations. In normal circumstances, price increases may occur due to supply and demand. However, during declared emergencies, the law restricts such increases to prevent exploitation. Price gouging is therefore viewed as both an unfair trade practice and a statutory offense under the law. Price gouging in Jamaica is governed by three primary pieces of legislation. These include the Trade Act 1995, the Disaster Risk Management Act, and the Consumer Protection Act. These statutes work together to regulate the sale of goods and protect consumers during national emergencies. The central statutory provision governing price gouging is Section 8 of the Trade Act. This section provides that no person whose business includes the sale of goods shall sell any necessary goods at a price higher than the price charged immediately before a national emergency or hazard. This provision becomes particularly important when a disaster declaration is made. Once such a declaration occurs, the price charged immediately before the emergency becomes the reference point for determining whether a seller has unlawfully increased their prices. In other words, businesses are not permitted to exploit emergency conditions to generate excessive profit from essential goods. The Disaster Risk Management Act provides the legal mechanism that triggers emergency consumer protection measures. Under Section 26(2) of the Disaster Risk Management Act, the Prime Minister may declare 1. A threatened area, or 2, a disaster area. Once such a declaration is made, emergency powers become available to the government, including the regulation of the sale and pricing of goods. These declarations activate the legal framework under the Trade Act, allowing for specific orders to be issued to control prices. Following the impact of Hurricane Melissa, the government acted quickly to prevent market exploitation. On October 24, 2025, the Prime Minister declared the entire island of Jamaica a threatened area under the Disaster Risk Management Act. This declaration triggered emergency regulatory powers. The government then issued the Trade, Sale of Goods during period of declaration of threatened areas, Tropical Storm Melissa order. That's a mouthful. This order froze prices on a wide range of essential goods, prohibited retailers from increasing prices beyond pre-storm levels, and ensured that consumers could access emergency supplies at fair prices. This measure formed part of the government's zero-tolerance approach to price gouging. I will now invite Ms. Zubaida Springer to speak to you about more critical aspects of our presentation.
Good morning. So we now move on to goods protected under the trade order. So the trade order would have identified several categories of what we call necessary goods. So personal care products were considered to be necessary goods. So these included soap, sanitizers, toiletries, diapers, and feminine hygiene products. These products are essential for public health and sanitation during disaster recovery. Medical supplies were also considered to be necessary goods. These protected items included prescription drugs, non-prescription medication, surgical masks, and protective gloves. Access to these goods is critical during emergencies when healthcare systems are strained. Building and reconstruction materials were also considered to be necessary goods. Why so? Because hurricanes frequently damage homes, the order also covered materials such as zinc, lumber, nails, and tarpaulins. These materials are necessary for repairing your roofs and securing damaged structures. Emergency supplies were also considered to be necessary goods. Additional protected items included batteries, flashlights, candles, generators. These are essential when electricity outages occur. However, there are some statutory exclusions, as not all goods fall under these emergency pricing restrictions. Certain commodities are regulated under industry-specific legislation, including the Sugar Industry Control Act, the Agricultural Produce Act, the Agricultural Marketing Act, the Coconut Industry Control Act, the Banana Board Act, and the Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority Act. These industries operate under separate regulatory frameworks because their prices are heavily influenced by agricultural production and supply conditions. So we now move on to the role of the enforcement agencies. So we firstly speak about the Consumer Affairs Commission. The Consumer Affairs Commission is the primary government body responsible for consumer protection. It operates under the Consumer Protection Act, and it falls within the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Its main responsibilities include educating consumers about their rights, resolving complaints between consumers and businesses, monitoring market practices, and investigating allegations of excessive pricing. The Consumer Affairs Commission has also warned businesses that it will not tolerate excessive pricing even beyond items specifically listed in trade orders, where such conduct may still amount to unfair or exploitative practices. We now move on to the Fair Trading Commission. So the Fair Trading Commission works alongside the Consumer Affairs Commission. So whilst the Consumer Affairs Commission focuses on individual complaints, the Fair Trading Commission focuses on broader competition issues such as price fixing, the abuse of market dominance, restrictive trade practices, and misleading advertising. So together, these institutions help to maintain fairness in the marketplace. There are, however, some penalties for basically going beyond this. So violating price control orders issued under the Trade Act is a criminal offense. So businesses that are found guilty of price gouging may face fines up to 1 million GMD or be prosecuted before a parish court. So these penalties are intended to deter opportunistic pricing behavior during crisis. So how can you, the consumers, report price gouging? So consumers who believe that they have encountered price gouging should report the matter to the Consumer Affairs Commission. You can make your complaint to the Consumer Affairs Commission toll-free hotline, to their website, or by visiting the Consumer Affairs Commission office in person. So consumers are also encouraged to provide, well, you need your evidence. So you need receipts, you need photographs of price tags, you need details of the business involved, the date and the location of the transaction. As the photographs of the receipts are accepted, so photographs of the receipts are also accepted as evidence. So if you don't have the physical receipt, but you have a picture of it, you can take it. So I now turn over to my colleague Anil, who will speak about the challenges.
Good morning, everybody. So although the law prohibits price gouging, proving it in court can be difficult. There are many evidentiary challenges. The investigators must prove the price charged before the emergency, the price charged after the emergency, and that the goods fall within what is protected and the protected category of those goods. Receipts are therefore extremely important. But we know day-to-day life happens. You throw away a receipt, you crinkle it up, those kind of things happen. Another major challenge is that distinguishing legitimate price increases. Not every price increase is illegal. Some prices rise because of transportation routes being disrupted, fuel costs being increased, and suppliers raising the wholesale price. For example, after Hurricane Melissa, some prices increased because Western Jamaica was cut off and logistical disruptions that prevented delivery trucks from reaching them increased those prices. The law must therefore distinguish between legitimate market adjustments and what is intentional exploitation. This can be extremely difficult, as we know practicalities happen and changing prices can happen as well. Another challenge is that many complaints lack sufficient detail. Reports such as, bread gone up by the supermarket, those kind of things are too vague to investigate. To really prosecute a case, the authorities must identify the specific vendors that are trying to exploit you. They must have the location of the store, and they have to have the price change. They have to have the old price, as I would have said previously, and the new one, which taking note of that is really and truly a practical issue. Investigating business records and auditing accounts also requires time and resources. There are, however, a number of broader policy considerations that we must make. Jamaica operates within a liberalized market economy. This means that the government does not normally regulate prices for most goods. It means that consumers and rather vendors have their options to change their prices as they wish. However, during disasters, the state intervenes to prevent exploitation. The purpose is not to punish businesses unfairly, but rather it is to ensure that essential goods remain accessible to all citizens, particularly those who are most vulnerable. In conclusion, the legal framework governing price gouging in Jamaica reflects a balance between the free market which exists and consumer protection during national emergencies. Though there is combined operation of the Trade Act, the Disaster Risk Management Act, the Consumer Protection Act, and the enforcement role of the CAC and the FTC, as discussed by my two colleagues, the government seeks to ensure that disasters do not become opportunities for economic exploitation. For us, as graduates of law and future attorneys at law, understanding this framework is essential to protect the people we are intended to serve. Legal professionals play a critical role in educating consumers, advising businesses on compliance, and ensuring that the law protects those who are most vulnerable in the times of crisis. With this being said, thank you for your time and attention throughout our presentation today. We'd like to thank Ms. Levy for her assistance and guidance in today's presentation, Mrs. Wisdom Barnett, the Director of the Legal Aid, and the technical staff of the Norman Manley Law School for facilitating this presentation. If you have any questions, as Ms. Levy would have said, I do have the contact information for Consumer Affairs Commission here. They are located at 17 to 19 Connolly Avenue, so you can visit them in person. And you can also contact their toll-free number and their email, which is probably what you remember over their toll-free number, which is info@cac.gov.jm.
So special thanks to Group F. Yes, they're my students. Thank you. So that was very educational, and we do apologize for not having the Q&A session. But this ends the morning session, and that I believe there is now an opportunity to and to discuss those presentations. So thank you, and we are welcome. You're welcome.